So with the wave that gave us the Detective Batman and Tim Drake Robin, one thing that really excited me was the possibility of a rescaling in the line. As a lot of us have complained about the McFarlane figures, they were about ½ an inch too tall to really be scaled correctly with the line. So we were excited to see if this meant that future figures would be scaled differently. Now, of course, you know, they have to pay for their molds, and we thought we might see a few instances where they had to keep cycling through the molds to actually get them paid off, to monetize them in the correct way. But over time, see maybe a different body sculpt make its way into the Superpowers universe and eventually remake some of the figures that have already been done. So one of the things that excited me about this most recent wave was the addition of Hal Jordan and Sinestro, and being able to see if they were scaled correctly to the old line. And I'm happy to say that it looks like they were. So let's start with them. So Hal Jordan, you know, this is an interesting figure because it's a very sort of drab green that we got here, not necessarily olive, but almost a flat green that we got. Very similar, if I had to guess, very similar to what they were trying to do with the sort of Challenge of the Super Friends Hal Jordan. Trying to recreate that as best as possible. I'm guessing we'll get more of a brighter green repaint of this in the future. He does come with his lantern, and you know, I have seen a couple of comments where, hey, he's a little bit shorter, just maybe barely shorter than the original Green Lantern. Almost stacks up just as high, at least from, you know, maybe the shoulders aren't quite there, but the head does seem to be maybe just a hair under the original. So if you're considering that Hal Jordan is 6'1", he might have come in here about 6 feet, maybe 5'11", but hopefully it's closer to like 6 feet. So closer to the original size of the Kenner Superpowers figure. And that's cool in the sense that, well, you know, actually let me grab my version of Hal Jordan. And again, this is the RB Customs Hal Jordan for a comparison. Let me pop him off his base. So I started using bases because, you know, I've had several instances here where I sort of clumsily knock things off, but yeah, head to head, he's just a hair shorter. You know, not too far off if we straighten them up, maybe just a little bit off, maybe an inch or two off. Nevertheless, that gives us the hope that we're going to see hopefully a rescaling in the line here in the future. You know, again, has a nice accessory, has the power battery. I was a little bit worried they wouldn't include a power battery, but did here. And then again, we get his counterpart Sinestro, and you know, wearing his sort of shecky court jester outfit, I always call it, from back in the day. We do get Sinestro. Now, interestingly enough, Sinestro is probably scaled properly. So if you look at the DC Who's Who guide, you'll see that Sinestro is supposed to be about 6'7". And of course, you know, they've sort of reimagined his head over time. I was guessing a lot of that was due to the height of his head back in the day. But if you consider that overall he's just 6'7", it's probably pretty accurate. So Booster Gold, we've actually accurately scaled him to be about the 6'5" that he's supposed to be in the comics. And you can see that, yeah, if you take the hair away, he's probably an inch or two taller. So probably around 6'7" there, probably accurate. So I'm not sure if McFarlane was trying to be that accurate with the figure, and hopefully they were. But we can see here where maybe we saw a rescaling of this figure. And again, love the detail here. Love that we got the yellow lantern. Not as big of a fan of this costume. I actually like the yellow Lantern Corpse figure a lot better. And I think we're getting something like that in the next wave. So excited to see what that brings us. The cool thing here, a couple of cool things. So we did get a couple of interesting additions to the line, and I do really like the look of this Superman figure. I love the red eyes. I love the gray temples. Just love the overall look of the suit. I do not have the Cape Master capes on this one as of yet, but love the look of this. You know, again, a bit too big, out of proportion. Would be awesome if one day they sort of redid this line, these figures, with a newly scaled body type, and hopefully we'll get that for Superman as well in the near future. But liked this addition in terms of just the pure overall aesthetic of the figure. So cool addition. You know, there's been a lot of talk over the years of Batman Zur-En-Arrh. Of course, they originally showed up in the 50s and then made its way back into comics, I believe, in the Jim Morrison run of Batman. and it's sort of been around for the last few years, made its way back into comics recently. You know, it has a few cool things to look at. It was based on the first superpowers sculpt of Batman. So again, trying to monetize that sculpt as much as they possibly can. You know, it's funny when you see these two things run together, people ask, well, why can't they just, you know, they have this mold ready. Why can't they do both of these? Well, they're still trying to monetize this mold, and probably on a production line, if they have a set time at a facility or a factory, they can probably run these two simultaneously, and it saves them quite a bit of money. So that's why you're seeing probably two different body sculpts. So a couple of cool things to point out about this one. I do like the purple cape. First time that I recall us getting any kind of purple cape in the line. The belt is cool with the bat symbol on it. It's just, you know, slightly repainted version, I believe, of the first series Superpowers Batman belt. And then the mask does have the black shading at the top, which is kind of a cool addition. And, you know, but has kind of the stubby arms, not really proportioned well, and way too big for what the actual figure is supposed to be if you compare it to the original line. So too big. A couple other things you get. You do get this Batman, which I believe is an homage to the Kenner Dark Knight collection line, like the Tech Winch Batman or something along those lines, where it was almost painted exactly like this. Sort of a cool aesthetic. I'm sure there are others they could have chosen as well, but they're trying to go through sort of a gold repaint on these to try to get as much mileage as they can out of some of these molds. But, you know, it does follow the newly rescaled Detective Batman body. So very cool that we're starting to see that in more and more figures, and hopefully we'll see that in others as well. I'm sure we will. And then we get finally Flash. And again, you've heard me talk about this figure in the past and complain a lot about it. Too tall, too big. Hopefully we'll see it rescaled, resized correctly, and look like it really should in the future. But I do kind of like the gold look for whatever reason. Sort of seems to work here. Again, a bit of a money grab to try to make sure they can monetize these molds if you're really interested in a gold Flash. But excited to see what the next wave brings us. I know there's some cool additions there. There's a couple of vehicles coming out, as well as a Kilowog figure and a couple of other really cool things. So excited. Blue Beetle, Brainiac. There could be some really fun things to see there. So the biggest thing this line gave me was hope that we will start to see a rescaled Superpowers line that going forward will be more compatible with the original Kenner series. So leave your comments below and subscribe to the channel. Thanks.